We're back. This is Politics and Movies with Mike and friends, and today our friend of choice is Billy Watkins. Say something, Billy.
I've been chosen.
Yeah, he's a man of our time. So today we're talking about what?
Huh?
Did you say that you're an intrusive daddy?
No, I didn't say that.
Would you like to say that for the record?
No. Never say that. Go ahead. What are we talking about? I don't remember.
We're talking about the 1999 cult classic, The Iron Giant, today on Politics and Movies. And this movie was produced and directed by Brad Bird in his directorial debut. It's loosely based on the 1968 novel The Iron Man by Ted Hughes, and it was written by Tim McCanlies from a story treatment by Bird. The film stars the voices of Jennifer Aniston, Harry Connick Jr., Vin Diesel, James Gammon, Cloris Leachman, John Mahoney. The list goes on, you could say. But anyway, this is a very fun
You're gonna
movie.
say what the movie is? Like
What the movie's about? It's the Iron Giant.
No,
I already said it's the Iron.
Oh, you did? Okay. I
Yeah.
thought you really hadn't said the title the whole time, and I was like, you're saying who Jennifer Aniston is in the movie, but you're not saying. My bad.
Okay, dude. Someone's not listening.
Yeah, I'm too high.
All right. So this movie is like actually a great subject for our podcast because it is very political, and it feels like we've been covering a lot of movies like that recently, which is good. Like it's yeah, like you could say it's less effort or whatever, but I wouldn't, because it's still like something to talk about, something concrete, something interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what makes it even better, is that it's just like it's a kids movie, but it doesn't dumb things down for kids. It's like this can be anybody's favorite movie, any adult's favorite movie. It hits home in the right way. It can connect in the right way. It has so many feelings. You know, the political the political message isn't really like diluted, especially if you're like an adult. As a kid, like I did not understand all this subtext, and but as an adult coming back to it, it's just so rewarding. It's like the best kind of kids movie. So it's really worth talking about, even if it is like, it's pretty much all the themes and things we'll probably be talking about is, as an adult, it's not like hard to get them.
Yeah, and of course, the first thing we'll be talking about, the obvious thing, is Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch.
Yeah, not the Civil War, or no, wait, not the
Civil War. Yeah, I love the
Cold
movie
War.
Civil War.
Yeah, this is that, right?
Came out last.
We'll just go with the concept of me not listening still. And
Cold
I think
War.
we're
You're talking about the Cold War. I'm sorry. I should have helped you.
no, I said the Cold War at some point. It took me a minute, but yes, the Cold. Are we really not talking about the Cold War right away?
No, we'll talk about the Cold War. Let's go for it.
Okay. Um. Yeah. Oh, well, you usually okay. I think I'm just so excited because this is one that we both really know. You usually do the synopsis and everything, so I guess you have to do that real quick.
I can do the synopsis if you want. All right. Boom. October 1957. During the Cold War, There's an object from space. It crashes off the coast of Maine in a town called Rockwell. There's a boy, Hogarth Hughes. He finds it. It turns out to be a giant robot. The robot is friendly. They hang out. They bond. There's a few 50s musical montages that are fun. Then there's this government agent, Agent Mansley, that comes up to the town to be like, hey, like what's going on? We heard reports of some fucking thing falling from space. We got to investigate. And yeah, then like he's on his tail, and he's a little incompetent, kind of an asshole, or strike that. Uh, he's a huge asshole. He's incompetent. That's what I'm trying to say. And but eventually he stumbles upon this where it's actually being hidden, and it's at this this junkyard with this guy named Dean that runs it. He also befriends Hogarth, and they have some fun times together. And then so eventually they figure it out, and there's a whole standoff, and then nonsense ensues, and then the day is saved by the Iron Giant, and it's a whole thing. It's very emotional. It's a good movie.
Yes, yeah. He's Superman.
He's Superman.
Which,
you are who you choose to be.
now choose.
Hmm.
Just you recapping everything. There's so much to talk about. I don't know where the fuck to start.
All right, start with your gut. Where are you thinking?
Well, okay. With just the end, I will start with my gut. I think it's really wholesome that is the direction that this movie took with, like, he says that he's Superman. Because it's such a like sweet reflection on who Superman is as a character. And what like comics is and what art is, and it says a lot about that time period, like a time period of fear. And like with DC and World War II, comics were coming out of like Superman punching Hitler and stuff like that. Superman was a character created to inspire and to show that we live in this period, this time of fear, but we can overcome it. We can be inspired. We can get through it. And it was that symbol of hope, that S on his chest. So I think it's just so iconic and so just so inspiring that, like, as a character who is created to destroy, he is eventually just so inspired by Superman, and he becomes that symbol of inspiration himself. It's just such a it's such a great mirroring of these two characters, especially
it's a very
when you
positive message.
yes, yeah, and especially when you know the backstory of like Superman. You don't have to. You don't have to know that he was like created for that purpose in that time period. But knowing that makes it even better, and just also you can just know that he's Superman and that he is just that symbol of hope. And it's just them seeing the comics and reading it together, and for a little kid, it's just like a comic and it's just fun. But for the Iron Giant, it's just like he takes the values from it, and it helps him just know like there's good guys and there's bad guys, and he doesn't want to be the bad guy. He doesn't want to be the gun. This movie is very anti-gun. uh, it's very anti just war, and that's just propagated through so many things that we'll talk about. But did you have anything to say in response?
I really like how this movie like delivers its messages. Like, yeah, it has a lot of like morals it kind of beats you over the head with, but it does it in such an honest way that I never took issue with it.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. I think also just for the Iron Giant, like him saying showing his fear of being a gun, it is like just so over the top with how he says it and how he reiterates it, and but you believe it because it's part of his character. It's part you you kind of like understand his character and understand that he's a little child like himself. He's still like going through the world and he needs help understanding the world. So the way that it's delivered isn't really like it kind of gives a an out. So it's delivered over the top because he's still understanding things. And
Absolutely,
that's a good way.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
it's an excellent framing device for this. Like for a kids movie. You know, it's like
that's
we're
exactly what I was about to say.
yeah, because kids are also learning through that lens of like modeling behavior and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get psychological on you.
No, no, that's what I was about to say too. Is that for a kids movie, it's good to have that like surrogate, um, so that the kids don't feel lost in things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same thing with adult audiences. Sometimes movies will have an audience surrogate, so it's not like kids are dumb or whatever. It's like it's very human.
Yeah,
All
I
right, so is there anything you're like itching to jump into?
um
Because
I
I'm
think
curious.
I think this movie captures its time period so well.
Yeah.
It shows the fear of the Cold War. I keep wanting to say Civil War. It shows the fear of the Cold War so well, and you know how fear mongering it was. And I think that's part of the reason why it's become such a classic. Is just it really it's shown in a comical light. Um, but it captures it so earnestly like that. Let's go to the scene where they're in the classroom and he's drawing pictures, and they have the video of like duck and cover, and you have to get under your table in order, if there's a nuclear holocaust, you'll be safe under your table.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, it's all very well done, and it's very like tonally congruent. It doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel dark. It just feels like, okay, this is the time that we're living in.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like a funny joke, but it's also real. Like I didn't realize that was real when I was like a little kid. I just thought it was like something played for laughs. Um, but it's done so well, and you know, it's such a part of the world that they create. And it's just so believable and also so funny without being tonally dark. Um, but there's a good bit of like darkness in this movie, but they always allude to it really well. Um, because it was like that's just how the time period was. There's a earnest innocence, and there's a dark looming presence, and just like it's funny how it just is matched so tonally well in this movie.
yeah, that's a great point. There's always darkness underneath the surface, like the scene where, um, well, the infamous scene where the hunters shoot the deer, and they're going over to inspect it, and the Iron Giant looks over, and he's like, he looks like sad that the deer is dead, and he sees the gun, and his robot eyes like focus on it, and they turn red, and it's like, oh my god, what's going on? And like, so it's like this is the first hint that there's more to this being, that this was actually an engineered uh, entity uh, of great evil, of great destruction and mayhem. And it's actually, through the course of the movie, because of the robot's intelligence, he gets basically rehabilitated, and he becomes an agent of good. Even more
Yeah,
than the actual agents in this film.
yeah.
And
Because
I yeah.
sorry, I really want to get this point with that point. Because of the fear, like the a the other agents, the FBI, are powered by that fear. And they're just so afraid that they will take any measure possible. Whereas he becomes like a agent of just um deterrence. Like he becomes the better of, like, I'm not going to stoop to the level of being a gun. I'm going to move past that. But it's the agent's fear of nuclear war, which inadvertently causes nuclear war.
Or very nearly.
Yes.
Yes. Can we talk about it? Actually, can we talk about Mansley, the character?
Yeah. Yeah. And that is just such a, it is easy, and I do agree he's really incompetent, but I don't want that to be the only thing we say about him. I do think he is just so stooped in hatred, so encompassed by hatred and fear, that that drives his actions. Like, this is he doesn't even see Hugo,
Hogarth.
Hogarth. He doesn't see Hogarth as like a kid. He sees him as a collaborator in this. You know, he underestimates Hogarth so much, and he just, he,
It's funny because it's a tenet of fascism, right? Like,
yeah,
say your enemy is both, hyper competent and incompetent, and it's like he's actually taken this to heart in a way. Like, he views Hogarth as the enemy, and he's incompetent because he's a kid, but he's also hyper competent because he's working with the enemy.
yeah, yeah, and it's funny because if they went into this with compassion, this entire movie wouldn't happen. I mean, just like Hogarth, he goes into this with compassion, and it's the bump on the head of the Iron Giant that makes him not the killer robot that he was destined to be. Um, and he's able to, be remolded
Yeah, he
into,
he basically has like a factory reset, and yeah.
yeah, and he's able to learn what is good and what is evil. Um, and if Mansley was able to appeal to the good in him, if he was able to see it, like, none of what would happen would have happened. Like, they wouldn't have had to hide. They wouldn't have had to. He wouldn't have accidentally nuked everything. Oh my God, there's so
He
much to
wouldn't have.
read into.
Well, yeah, like they like, even though the Iron Giant absorbed the bomb, there was like a good what, like 20, 30 minutes there where the entire town was certain they were going to die. That's an entire town's worth of trauma. Like, what's that going to do to the town?
Yeah, yeah. He didn't think about it. It was only he didn't think that the town would be uh, killed. He didn't even realize that he was possibly going to be killed. You know, he just all he thought was, "Oh, the giant's here. We gotta kill him." Hey, he thought he was gonna be a hero, and I think that really was that was part of the fear and part of being in the military was you, you know make the big action, be the big hero. um
Well, and that's where I kind of want to roll back a little bit something that I said earlier about him being incompetent. Like, I think that's kind of the wrong word, in that he's kind of bumbling, but for the most part his course of actions is pretty competent. He's a competent detective. Um like he's good at following the trail, and eventually he does figure it out,
Yeah,
like
he
what
finds
happened.
Hogarth pretty well, pretty
Yeah, he does.
fast too.
Yeah, he picks up the gun, and he's like, oh, he makes the connection like as soon as he meets Hogarth. So it's not like he's a complete moron. It's just that he's so by the book, and like you said, he's so steeped in his own like emotions, especially fear and hatred, that he lets those emotions like rule him instead of like um, behaving rationally at times. Especially when emotions are heightened. Like, he
Yeah.
completely goes off the rails, and he steals the radio from the general. And he's like, I'm going to be the one to launch this weapon, this nuclear weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, and
And
he thinks
like
he's a hero.
he, he doesn't think of the consequences at all. He doesn't think that this is an act of treason, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, at the very least, you're going to prison for the rest of your life if you're lucky. In this time period, sometimes they executed people convicted of treason.
yeah. Where the real hero isn't the person who uses the gun, like that's the theme of the movie. The real hero is the deterrent, the one who stops the war from happening in the first place, the one who sacrifices to save everybody else. Uh, You're not going to accomplish anything by killing everybody, but that is what the impulse is to do. Um, so you can't just rely on your impulsive decision. You have to, you know, be compassionate.
Sure. Yeah, compassion is always important in like every decision, really, in life. And like, some people take that for granted, some people forget that,
Yeah,
and
I,
some people allow themselves to be ruled by hate.
it's like when you have a kid and you double down on being like aggressive with your kid of like, you can't do drugs, you can't do anything, you can't go out with friends, you can't have sex,
Just
like anything like that where
very strict
yeah, yeah,
disciplinarian.
when obviously a lot of times they're going to just double down and do those things without you, and you know now they are in the space where they are going to make more mistakes, and they are going to maybe try to drink and drive, or maybe you know have sex without a condom, and there's so many possible mistakes that can be made just because you refuse to teach your kid, and instead you know fear mongered, essentially, and tried to um in this situation I'd say it's similar because he essentially was trying to avoid nuclear disaster, was trying to avoid the Iron Giant from killing everybody, and then
Right, right.
in his impulse for stopping the war, he comically causes the almost nuclear fallout.
Launch the missile now. Where's the giant, Mansley?
Yeah,
It's so good. That's such an iconic line.
yeah,
And
and
I love I know, like in reality the general is part of the military industrial complex and we're not supposed to like him, but in the context of this movie, the general is, actually like mostly competent and like actually very intelligent and makes the right choices for the most part when he's well informed. And like it's interesting, like how like he's played against Mansley as like, yeah, like while Mansley's intelligent, he's also rash and impulsive and manic and insane, you know. And while as whereas the general is very level-headed and when they think they're gonna die, he's not like, like, oh, he's not freaking out like Mansley. He's like, okay, we're gonna die for our country, and that's it. Like what else are you gonna do? And he's resigned to that because at the time that's the information that he thinks he has. Is like, that's all there is. That there's nothing they can do.
yeah, it where he was always about his country. Um, Mansley shows his true colors by trying to preserve himself, and
Right.
trying to just drive away. He shows it
Yeah.
was never about, protecting others. It was only a
No.
self-serving goal.
Yeah, he's always furthering his own interests, and he was that kind of bureaucrat where he's always just looking out for number one, trying to squeeze his way ahead,
Yeah.
stepping on others. Yeah, and yeah, it's like screw the country, I want to live. Yeah.
Yeah. Which they didn't have to. That really made it over the top.
I love it. I love it. It's it's funny.
They didn't have to spell it out like that. Like a kid already knows. But it is very funny.
Yeah.
Screw the country. I want to live.
All right, let's talk about how some parents don't have time to raise their children because some parents are a single mother working as a waitress odd hours and never have time to spend with their kid other than to reprimand them. And so, yes, let's get into it. Let's talk about Hogarth's mom.
Oh yes. The Dommy Mommy, as some people call her.
Jesus Christ, nobody calls her that.
I do know, unfortunately, there is a good bit of porn of her.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, well, un-
Well,
unfortunately.
she's you know, is that's not Pixar? No, it's not. It's Brad Bird though.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think they've humanized her in a very believable way. Like
Yeah.
she has to be working at the diner, and he kind of has to just be entertaining himself. Um, with her saying like, "Oh, you've got another pet," and him, and it's like a squirrel, and it's just like he's really just trying to live a normal kid life, and she, has to be kind of a dual role of working and a mom at the same time. We don't know what happened to the father. It's just this is just her everyday life now, and he's just trying his best to be a kid and grow and doing kid stuff, making kid mistakes, and like he's adventuring into the forest when obviously he really shouldn't do that. And just watch. It's interesting. It shows how his life is kind of like
Yeah.
unfettered without his his mom to a degree. Like he still has
Oh yeah,
some
he's
of her
he's
discipline.
basically Yeah, he's basically a latchkey kid. He comes and goes as he pleases. He basically has his own uh, autonomy.
Yeah, yeah. He is like just really like Mm, and he really learns to make his own decisions. Like even in the final act of the movie, when he's in the car with them, he jumps out of the car to go help the Iron Giant, and um, she runs after him, thinking that he's gonna die because he almost did die. But it's like the right call because he has his hero moment where he saves the town by stopping the giant. So it's funny how like he's just this a little bit of this impulsive kid, but he's shows a lot of intelligence and a lot of emotional intelligence, and, especially with the Iron Giant.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, that line even "You are who you choose to be." That's really good. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I I have more to say. For sure, especially about some of the stuff he says. You're talking about the deer getting shot scene. Something that's
yeah,
always strike me as very odd, um, but it's never made me dislike the movie is how intertwined with Christianity it is, or at least like Christian values, maybe I should say. Um, like he says things have a soul, and when he's talking about the deer dying, the reason why it's such a impactful moment, it's not just a deer died, um it's living things have souls, and I really liked that about this movie. Like I one of the things I don't like about Christianity, some Christians probably don't feel this way, but a lot of Christians will say that animals don't have souls, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I always have, um, and I I really do love that. Like when he's looking at the death of the deer, it's like this is that nobody should be just killing this for fun. Like this is a sad moment. Don't touch the body because that was a living breathing organism with meaning, and you don't want to hurt it further. And it's just like it's such a sad moment, um and it's treated like with a lot of heart and respect, and it's like it's so interesting that that's coming from a kid who has those values, who is just indoctrinating in a sense the Iron Giant to those values.
It is. It's very interesting. And values do you think conflicted the most in the movie?
Do you have one? Because I don't feel like anything conflicts. I don't think so.
No, I mean like internally, like the characters, like like the values of like Mansley and Hogarth conflicting.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we got that out of our system. What else do you want to talk about?
I think I, I want to talk about Dean a little bit. Um, I think
We
Dean.
stand Dean.
Yes, yes, Dean is an amazing character. Um, but I really think it's interesting because Dean is such a good character. He's the one who gives Hogarth the line. He gives Hogarth the "You are who you choose to be," um, and that really resonates with Hogarth. He becomes like a real father figure for Hogarth, and it's just interesting because until that moment, Hogarth is really struggling with who he is, and he's just just kind of like just living, like I said, unfettered, just kind of being his own person without those role models. And he sees Dean, a man who's pretty much like living unfettered himself, but who's just so confident in his skin and just so unabashedly okay with who he is, loves making art, loves being himself. Um,
Is
it's
sexy.
He's sexy. It's so funny when the general and Mansley sees the Iron Giant in Dean's uh what is it? Like a it's like in a
Junkyard.
barn in a yeah,
The
it's in a
barn in the
barn.
junkyard.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah, that's
barn
a
in the
barn.
junkyard.
Yeah.
They really just see it as like, oh, this crazy dude's art. And they are just like, "Well, okay, whatever that thing is. But that's just such a Dean thing. Like he's this weird guy to everybody else, but he's just himself. And um, yeah, I think that's what really helps Hogarth um become himself at the end of the movie too. Is just
I'm just Dean. Anywhere else, I'd be considered mean.
and it's interesting how both these characters learn from each other too, because Dean probably would be content to just stay in the junkyard for the rest of his life, but like you see him get pushed out of his comfort zone time and time again, and get pushed into the father role, especially with like Hogarth um diving into the pool with the Iron Giant. Like it's just like he's not ready to be a father figure, and then he's just like pushed into it, and he at the end of the movie, like he like creates that relationship with his mom, and it's so nice to see them both like it is kind of an old concept of like a man needs a woman and a woman needs a man to become themselves fully. But it is nice that they were both their own people before they met each other too. They were both like full humans, but at the end, they've just become better for both of them. Like he is happy, he is still pursuing art even with her. And yeah, it's like
Although
both
to be fair, she does find it a bit odd, right? She's
yeah,
like, yeah, she takes a while to warm up to it, and she's trying, in her defense.
yeah.
But there's clearly some stigma there, like, oh, this is frivolous, and this man is frivolous, but I'm in love with him anyway. There's an aspect of that.
It's interesting because it's like that's how a lot of people see Dean. You know, a lot of people see his stuff as frivolous, but it's still important to him. And it's good that she can at least be like, this is important to him. We shouldn't just, you know, shouldn't belittle it just because he's eccentric.
Yeah, and I'm really sad I didn't rhyme Dean with coffee bean.
He loves coffee. Dean
He does.
smokes weed, I'm sure of it. They just didn't have him smoking weed,
Yeah,
but he
he,
does.
he he calls them jazz cigarettes. Thank you very much. But yeah, and of course, Dean is the kind of guy that, like, if he did smoke weed, he wouldn't do it in front of the kid. He's
Yeah,
classy.
yeah. It's a relationship that I understand how it grows so well. Like in the diner, they're both outcasts, both Hogarth and Dean. They're both weird for different reasons, but Dean always owns it. It's so
Yeah.
funny when he. It's so weird, but I get this. It's such a character moment. But when Dean um he has the squirrel or chipmunk in his pants, and he's like, "I'm sorry to everybody," and he just takes off his pants. He
But
unzippers it in front of everyone.
yeah,
That's such a confident, big dick Dean moment, dude.
Yeah, just whip out that 11 incher. Yeah.
Just in front of the whole diner, like, I'm sorry, guys, there's a squirrel in my pants. Understand.
I'm sorry, there's a rodent on my nuts. Because some imbecile kid was trying to smuggle a squirrel. Oh, jeez. Yeah, this is a really fun movie. And yet it's got so much in it. Like it's not, it's such a dense movie for what it is, if that makes sense. The themes, the morals, everything just feels like so perfect. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm I'm really maybe I'm gushing too much now. But yeah, so um any other thoughts?
I was trying to think of some other stuff because I was kind of like overfilled with thoughts before, and now I'm struggling. Um, it just felt like there was so much to talk about. Let's do what I did with the Back to the Future and kind of just. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say let's talk about the the scene where he's watching the Alien movie.
Okay, I had thought about that. What do you want to
Yeah.
say about it?
I'd like to say that it's really interesting that uh cults pulp 50s horror movies are portrayed in this children's film.
I love the way that they are portrayed. There's just such like a earnest innocence to everything.
Yeah. I like well, I do like the monster like ends up like sucking on his head and he's just like waving back and forth and screaming. And like it's like a single frame as Hogarth is like leaving the house and yeah. I think that's I know that's like a very small thing, but I thought it was like worth mentioning. Shout out to the scene where you know the hand is fucking around the house while they're all eating dinner and Hogarth is trying to, like discreetly get rid of it.
Yeah, I that goes back a little bit to the Christian values too, because um I I do like that. I think this is the only like kind of overt like Christian value movie that I like because I like how they show it here. It's not like annoying, and it's very much a part of the characters in a wholesome way because it's partly how the when we talk about like a lot of people feel like Christian values um is the only way to be indoctrinated with good morals. And I've heard that argument a good bit. Um and it's not the only way to be indoctrinated with good morals. But in the sense for the Iron Giant, like it's just the good morals that he is indoctrinated with come from Superman and come partly from, like the from Christianity. Like good morals can come from anywhere, bad
But
morals can come from anywhere.
but
Uh,
what you're saying is if they come from Superman, they technically come from New York Jews. So not Christians.
exactly, exactly. They can come from anywhere, including New York Jews.
A very important demographic.
Mm,
So
yeah.
anyway, are there any other aspects of this film that we haven't gotten to that you'd like to? I'd like to talk about one. Here we go. This is one that merits some attention. The lighthouse guy.
That guy from the beginning.
Yes. He
Yes.
says yes. He tells the town that he sees this fucking giant ass robot thing in the middle of the night, in the middle of the water, and absolutely nobody believes him. They all ridicule him and like make fun of him and call him names.
And yeah, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah. I really like. This is such a good movie. I like how this movie follows up on several different storylines in a really creative way. Like the the diner is used consistently as like a staging for multiple different things, and part of that is this follow up on the beginning of the story with the lighthouse guy, where we see him talking to his friends, and that's how Hogarth hears about it. And even Dean, the weirdo, is like, yeah, that dude's kind of crazy. He probably just drank a little too much that day.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't say that Dean couldn't sometimes be an asshole.
But it's just kind of like, it's funny, because it shows the duality of the fear. That a lot of people were afraid, and a lot of people didn't want to make others afraid, and thought that others were just making others afraid, like, out of nowhere. And you know a lot of things, they didn't want to just overreact, and some people would overreact, and then it was like, oh, well, this is it true, is it not true? Like, there's always the conspiracy theorists, and it's just like, yeah, that guy's fucking crazy, like, don't even believe him. So it's just like the duality of fear. What's taking it too far? Is this the the end of that fear, or the beginning of that fear? um should we believe that fear? Is this part of the fear, or is this real? A lot of people didn't know what the difference was, and didn't know when the difference came in.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Well,
What is yours?
it's like we could just go back a little bit and there's McCarthyism. So, already there in the recent past, and it's still ongoing actually at this point. This movie's set in 57.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like right in the middle of it. So, yeah, so there's a lot of fear in terms of like political othering as well. You've got people like thinking that their neighbors are communist spies sent from Russia to harvest their organs, and it's like it's crazy. And McCarthy is out there like with these. He says he has these lists of people, and they're all bullshit, and he's always lying. And McCarthy was a Republican of convenience. He didn't have any real values. He didn't really have any real virtues. He chose the Republican Party because he couldn't get elected as a Democrat in his state, which was Wisconsin. That's the only reason he became a Republican. So he's a politician of convenience. He has morals of convenience. And this is in real life. So when we talk about, how these characters are reacting to every situation and behaving in every situation, this is that the subtext to that, like that is happening in the background where you've got this maniac demagogue going around accusing everyone of being a communist that he doesn't like, and they're, half the country is going along with it, and it's insane. And it, of course, like mirrors what was happening when this movie came out, and also mirrors what's happening now. So it's like it always comes full circle, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I was thinking while you're talking, damn, these opinions go hard. um y- are you done on that point? I have one more major point I was thinking of.
Yeah, absolutely, go, it's all you.
Well, there is a obvious, like, psychological debate. You can be on either side of this, and you can be in the middle. But I've thought about this often when watching this movie, I think this movie makes a big claim for the nature versus nurture debate. Um, what do you think of that? I think this is a pretty big nurture movie.
Well, I never really liked the nature versus nurture argument. And, because I always believed that it's both.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I don't really subscribe to the premise, but um
Yeah. I mean, I completely understand that. I just think it's very interesting how like this movie. Obviously, the Iron Giant is set up like as a he's created to be this war weapon, and he that is his nature, but he goes against that nature when he finds Hogarth, when he gets the bump in his head, when he is taught about what the other people are, and they aren't just an other anymore. He knows who he would have been killing, and he doesn't want to be that weapon anymore. Um, so I do agree with you. I have never really been on the it's one or the other side.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
especially when we learn about things like mental illness, and it's just like, oh, what is it? Is it nature or nurture? And it's like, oh yeah, it really can be both for a lot of things. Like, is it nature or nurture for autism? Well, it can be both.
Well, the reason we have arguments like this is airheaded journalists who look up, start researching stuff like this, get like a third of the actual picture and then decide they know everything.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
people who have their own agenda too. I mean,
Yes, that's
that happened with the anti-vax crew.
oh my god, that was
That
a
was
con artist.
yeah, that was just someone who really who was just trying to sell a different vaccine. He wasn't even
Mhm.
trying to create anti-vax people. He was trying to create people who would want his vaccine so he could make money, and then
Yeah.
it became so anti-vax. And it's so funny.
We really don't have to get into anti-vax stuff on an episode about the Iron Giant.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
I forget how we got into that then. Oh, yes, now I remember.
Were these kids vaccinated for polio? No,
um,
I'm seriously asking.
yeah, definitely not.
Well, damn. All right. Closing thoughts. Second to closing thoughts. Third to closing thoughts. Fourth? The fifth. The minor. Da, 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 the
Um,
baffled king. Okay.
I can't think anything else. Can you think of anything else?
Oh, that we haven't talked about.
Yes.
The corn song "Mr. Rogers" is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, that's what you can think about.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I think we've covered everything. I really do. I'm unless there's like a huge gap in my thinking. We didn't talk about we didn't talk about the technology really.
I
And
wa-
that's an interesting aspect of it.
I was just thinking about that actually.
Yeah.
That's the last
Really?
thing I'd like to talk about. Yeah, I was thinking about here's where my mind was going. Like it's
Okay.
interesting
Go
for
for it.
the Iron Giant that he even exists, and like that there isn't really many safeguards that the Soviets have for him. Like, you know, he he's just kind of sent to do his own thing, and then he hits the transformer, and that fucks everything up, and it's just like, you guys had so much technology to create him, to give him sentience, and then there's no backup plan. He's just kind of fucked up by just a measly transformer. That's where my mind was just going.
Well, I like it when you fill your mind hole.
Thanks. But just imagine for them, inadvertently, they're just creating a weapon.
Yeah.
They're not even trying to make it sentient. They're not even trying to
Are you
make
sure about that? Because it's intelligent, and
I
it seems like it had to have been pre-programmed. I don't think that kind of like sentience could just like dawn from nothing. That had to have been integrated already.
I'm gonna go back to my previous point and say
Okay.
this is part of Christianity. And
Okay,
say
you think that you think
I'm
this is an allegory.
I'm gonna say this is part of the theme of the Christianity that all living things have souls, and that they created this weapon to have life, and they never intended it to have a soul, and that was the whole purpose of it.
So
Is-
you're saying that the Iron Giant was created by Jesus?
No. Amen.
Amen, brother.
I just say that that I in my head canon, anybody can disagree with this, that by the movie's philosophy, all living things have a soul, animals, and this thing that was a weapon is created as a living thing and has a soul. Like maybe
Yeah,
at one
no,
point, maybe even you could go so far to say before it hits the transformer, that it's just a weapon. It's a mindless gun at that moment.
yeah, and I would say it's. I know you've kind of touched on it a bit, but that the Iron Giant seems to be affirmed by the talk of him having a soul, because he doesn't feel. He feels a little. Or it seems like he's being characterized as at times, feeling a little uncertain in his skin. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, very transcoded.
Hey, if I mean, shouldn't be political, but it is.
I would say I'm actually leaning with what I said before with the Transformer releasing him, because
Yeah.
I do think that, like, we see at the end of the movie when he's about to kill the town, we see what his weapon form looks like. He is just a gun, just a mindless weapon, and it's like that's his programming. But when he was released from his programming, then he's talking, he's sensitive, he's learning. Like that's his soul, and he just had to be released from his programming, which was the Soviet weapon. Like maybe they didn't even know that they had created sentience. They just, you know,
I feel that I find that hard to believe, because we are, working on AI, and it's still a lot of trial and error. It's still running code. It's still figuring things out, and it's been out for a couple of years. This is a hyper intelligent being that can make, has critical thought capabilities, can make decisions, has emotions. That's insane.
yeah.
That's insane, dude. That was programmed. I'm sorry. That was programmed.
I think by the movie logic, it wasn't. But yeah, that's my take.
Okay. Well, I disagree, but that's okay.
Yeah, like if we're talking real world, you can't just replicate human emotions like that.
No, like that was intention. That was by design. If you know, if that because like otherwise, it how long did it take for humans to evolve, upper thinking capabilities,
Yeah, but I don't think the Soviets would have wanted that. They wouldn't have wanted an emotion-filled robot. Like they wouldn't want him to feel sorry about killing people. They wanted a weapon. I think that would go against, what their mission was.
No, the only one stupid enough to mention the Soviets was Mansley, so we can discredit that.
Good old fear-filled Mansley.
Yeah. Oh no, Stalin is watching me masturbate through the walls. Okay.
I think that's everything.
Yeah. Good note to end on.
Stalin is watching me masturbate through the wall.
Yeah, it's
That's
important.
why you should be afraid of the Cold War.
Yes. Yeah. That's why it's a good thing we defeated him with Reagan's micro penis. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Let me
Get
end
us
it
to
on
the
one other note, though. Going back to what we began
Sure.
with, um, about Superman, and I do think like that's the whole point of the movie is just showing that like I like it for this reason. It's just the Iron Giant, Superman. It's all like you've said before. Movies. It's all meant to inspire and creatively drive you and be a better person. And anybody can be a better person. It's just what you do and how you choose it. It's up to you to choose.
Now choose. Do it now. Or I'll shoot you with a death ray.
Now
He had a
please,
ray gun. Looked real enough.
now please vote for Joe Biden.
Vote for Joe Biden's mangled corpse. He was mangled by the wolves. The wolves rose at dawn. They attacked. Nothing could stop them. No one could see them. They lunged.
Are you done?
Okay. I'm sorry, that was really funny. All right. Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
Good ass movie, as Cosmonaut would say.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, this movie slaps, and I don't care who knows it.
Slaps my wife.
Oh God, there's no domestic abuse in this film.
I think we talked about everything there is to talk about.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Politics and Movies. We were your friends, Mike and Billy. And remember, the only good bugle is a dead bugle.
I won't forget.
Yeah. Reagan's micro penis.